first turn on this hose to water my tomatoes, I gotta let it run a minute, because it'll come out blistering hot where it was way out there in the yard in the hot sun. Tinkered with my boat a little bit yesterday. My friend David, who is the North Carolina plant doctor, gave me an online subscription to C-Lock. It's an online owner's manual for Johnson and Evinrude engines, and it comes in right handy. As you'll recall, when I was doing cranking my boat up, I had to squirt carburetor cleaner in it to get it to start when it was cold. When it was hot or warm engine, it'll crank right up without. In studying that manual, I found out that the problem is the primer solenoid. You got to push in on the key when you start it, which activates a plunger in the primer solenoid, which bypasses the carburetors and shoots gas straight into the intake to give it a little extra boost of gas to start it. So virtually I do the same thing by squirting carburetor cleaner in the intakes, and it seems to work that way. But I've figured out it's the primer solenoid. Not a whole lot on YouTube about it, but there's a red knob on the front of the engine that you can turn up. I didn't know what it was. I've seen that red knob. You can flip it up and it'll bypass that solenoid and shoot the gas straight in there, start right up. So I read that on the manual and went out there and hooked up the water hose to the motor, flipped that knob up, turned the key, sure as the world, it fired right off. But the only handicap with that is you'd have to take the cover off the motor every time you want to start the motor. So it looks like I'm going to have to rebuild the primer solenoid. Looked at it a little bit after I ran it. Looks like quite a bit of work on bolting the thing off there. But according to the manual, it can crack and leak gasoline up there. I don't need that, so I need to check it. I might take the boat out this weekend and run it a little bit anyway. Thinking about it, but then again, I might go ahead and take that plunger out of that primer solenoid off and order the right parts to rebuild that kit, or kit to rebuild it. Well, one thing, I know what the problem is. A whole new primer solenoid costs $276 or something like that. But a kit is considerably less. So if I take the thing apart and find what's wrong with it, maybe I can repair it. Got to get an ohm meter out and check it with that. But first, got to get it off the motor, and it looks like I'll have to take the fuel pump and everything else off. But it's something that needs to be done anyway. What the heck, maybe I'll get lucky and just be something simple. Anyway, that's my vlog for today. It takes a while to water these tomato plants because you want to let the water soak in pretty good and give the plant a good drink. Hopefully we'll get a few tomatoes out of it. I ain't got the energy to come out here and tinker with them every day. Well, they're lucky to get watered with me. Got 1,000 other projects on hand.